Good morning, everyone. This is the December 8th meeting of the Darien Beautification Commission, and it is 10:08. Sorry, we're a little bit late, so we'll get started. Our first item is to approve the minutes of the November 1st meeting. Is that right?
November 10th.
November 10th, oh good, I've got a great typo in my agenda here. November 10th meeting. I sent a few comments around that were just sort of clean-up comments, a couple of typos and things, and just wordsmithing, but nothing substantive, if everyone was okay with those.
Mm-hmm.
So can we have a motion to approve? Elizabeth, seconded. Colleen, thank you. All those in favour? Aye. All right, and so the next item on our agenda is follow-up on candidates for the commission. So I've got some good news. Katie Jarrett, who was the DTC nominee, she has an interview with the Board of Selectmen on December 20th. So that's proceeding.
Can you spell Jarrett, please? Katie?
Yeah, Jarrett.
Katie Jarrett.
Katie Jarrett, yep. And then there were a couple of other people. Your lady, Christina?
Right.
Yeah. I discovered why she wasn't communicating with me. Every time I sent her an email, my program auto-corrected it to the wrong address that I had used originally. So I finally figured out how to override it, got in touch with her, and she said she would be applying, so that was last week sometime, so she said she was going to apply. And then we had another email from a lady who said she is very, very keen on helping us. And so I said, look, we have only one position, assuming Katie gets approved. We only have one position, and there are a few people who have, or are in the process of applying. I don't know exactly what the status is, so feel free, and we'll just see what happens. So I think she was going to apply too.
Or whether does it matter whether they're Republican or Democrat or?
Well, I guess that will sort itself out. It turned the most recent, I'm not sure about Christina, I told them, where to go online, and that they would need to go via the DTC or the RTC. The most recent lady said she was unaffiliated and didn't know which to go with, and I said, well, I was unaffiliated, and I just went with DTC. So actually, if you're unaffiliated, I suppose it could balance, whatever vacant position we've got.
Anyway.
Yeah, exactly.
So, and then there had been a gentleman too who'd been interested in joining us, and I emailed him, but I haven't heard back. So look, it's wonderful. We have more potential applicants than we have positions, so that's very encouraging. And we'll see who gets there first and whose application gets through. Okay, and then the next item is on the slopes, Habitat Hill. We had talked last time about getting rid of that invasive burning bush. Mm-hmm. And I spoke with Public Works because I had thought if they wanted to partner with us in removing it, then I would include them in the draft article that I was writing for the Darien Times. Somehow or other my request was communicated differently, and it came across to Public Works as I was asking for permission, and I got denied permission to remove the bush. So I was a little surprised about that, because this bush is clearly causing havoc in our forests. It's become the understory in our forests. It's all over town. It hosts no native insects or wildlife. It has no predators. It spreads prolifically through birds carrying the seeds and dropping them everywhere, and through small mammals picking the seeds up off the ground and then dispersing them. So it's a real problem. So I have asked Ed Gentile if I could have a meeting with him before the end of the year. So he's agreed to that. We haven't fixed the date yet, but I'd like to be able to present my reasons. I thought I had done that. I drafted an article for the Darien Times, and I sent it to him. I just don't know how much, he may not have had enough time to read it and really understand what the issues are.
Maybe one of us should join you, meeting
Yes,
with him.
that would be very helpful.
And,
Yeah.
and, quite frankly, if he doesn't want to listen, I think we should include Monica.
I think that's a very good idea. I'm actually, not really in my capacity as beautification chair, but in a just sort of resident capacity, putting in an information package together for Monica about where we stand, or where I stand on a proposal to set up a tree advisory board and various other projects. But I didn't want to send her stuff piecemeal, I'd give her time to settle in, and then I was just going to put a whole package together. And I think one of the issues on there will be control of invasives, and I would like her to know, I'm sure she'll find out through the normal process anyway, that we have applied for a capital budget to eradicate the invasives at the berm. Because I think that that's not only is a good thing to be doing, but it's very informative for residents as well.
And, yep, I think it brings good publicity,
Yes.
attention, it makes people look at their
Yes.
own yards.
Yes.
Yeah.
And that was really the thinking behind it, but I don't want to be doing this, without public works support. It makes no sense at all, because we've worked very harmoniously. So it's important, I think, that we get on board, and I think it's important that the town speaks with one voice.
We educate him. Clearly,
Yes.
there's a disconnect here.
Well, I think there is a disconnect, and it's always difficult by email. People are in a hurry, whereas if you sit down and present your argument cogently and with all your backup materials, I think that that will be more useful. But yes, I'd love one or more of you to come. That would be really
Yeah, definitely.
helpful. Especially if you can walk by then.
Yeah.
Let us know when.
Yeah, I will. I'm sure this time of year is pretty busy for him, but I'd rather do it sooner than later, because I wouldn't want this to be any kind of impediment to our request for a capital budget. I mean, we may not get that money
But
anyway.
that is your capital request, isn't it?
To remove the invasives at the berm. The removal of the burning bush here could be done out of our existing capital budget
Well, I
for
didn't
works
realize
here.
it was here too. I
Yeah.
thought it was
Great
the
big one.
berm you were talking
Yeah.
about.
Here in the corner.
And look, the colour is lovely. There's no doubt. But there are natives. We talked about that before. The high bush blueberry or the red twig dogwood that could replace the colour, but be more consistent with what we're trying to achieve on those slopes generally. So that would be the plan. And I sent him a photograph of the high bush blueberry too, because when you look quickly, it's almost indistinguishable with that lovely bright red-orange colour. So I'll follow up. I'll follow up in the next couple of days, try and set up a meeting, and then I'll see who else would like to come. That'd be fantastic.
Sounds good.
Okay, so the next cleanup. Just so you know, last time we spoke about the daffodil bulbs that the Garden Club of Darien had. I got those planted at Amy's Smile, and I did. But I had to do that because I had to have a photograph of me with another Garden Club person in order to show the Greenwich Daffodil Society that we had actually planted them. And when I was working there, I found lots of other bulbs that had been sort of brought to the surface. So I don't know whether the squirrels are picking them up, but there do seem to be some bulbs. I put them back in. I hope they grow. I hope we don't get them all dug up.
The Garden Club has planted over in Tilly Pond Park
Yes.
any number of times
Yes.
over the years.
Yes, this was just a small donation that we got because Debbie McLean had gone to the annual meeting of the Greenwich Daffodil Society, and they should be very pretty if the animals leave them alone. I've put them at the edge, just behind the wall, so people walking past should be able to see it. I mean, there's still a little bit of clean-up to do there, but I don't know what people would like to do. I personally, well, first of all, I'm not feeling well, but I'm going to be away this Friday. I was looking at the slopes and thinking I probably ought to cut down the big asters now. They're really not flowering and they've all fallen over. If anybody wants to make a start on that, that would be fantastic. Otherwise, I can just get to it next week.
When are you thinking about when?
Well, we've tended to be working the Friday following our meeting, but I'm going to be away this week, and it doesn't, we don't have to do it all together. I think if we just, normally I wouldn't cut them in my own garden. I don't cut these plants down because they're a real sort of nest. The hollow stalks can be nests for insects, and the birds like to feed off the seeds and the plants. But I think I can understand why in a sort of public setting it's a little hard to digest the wildness of it.
Tidy up.
Yeah, so I think probably we should tidy. And I think if we leave, I don't know, that 3 feet, that would be fine. At least it would be a little bit clearer. So if anybody wanted to do that this Friday or whenever, that would be perfect for me.
I've got a commitment this Friday.
And that's fine, and I will be here. I'll take a look next week, and if anybody's started work on it.
Yeah, I can't go until Monday, but I'm happy to go Monday morning.
Okay. All right, I think I might be back Monday, so let's stay in touch, and then maybe
Okay.
we could, it's always nicer to work together.
Yeah.
Monday's good for me too.
Yeah, all right, well, let's try that then, and see where we go. You're excused from all further activities to the surgery. Now, Tracy can't be with us today. She's gone to the hospital with her husband, but she sent us the accounts, the balances, and nothing has really changed. She has a couple of bills to pay out of the operating account, and that will leave us with about 20,000. So that, we really can't do much with that until later in the year, when we know how much the hanging baskets are finally going to cost and all the watering. So
I did have Elder do the, clean up the islands,
yes.
and I didn't know if he sent the bill to you. I said.
Oh, she mentioned to me that she had received that bill from him, and she was going to take it out. That bill she was going to pay from the Adopt a Garden.
Exactly.
Yes. So I think she's got all the bills. She just has to process the paperwork now, and she's obviously a bit distracted. But
Sorry, Julia, can I just clarify? Did you get a picture with the daffodil bulbs?
did I get?
Did you get the photo for the?
Oh, I did. Do you want me to?
You did? That would be great if you could just
Yes,
send it.
it's really awful. I can't decide which is the least awful.
Okay, is it on the agenda for today, the daffodil bulb? Do you want it in the minutes?
Oh, I was just mentioning that we had planted them. Last week,
Okay.
last month we had mentioned that we were going to do it, and I just wanted people to
You
know
got it
that
done.
it was done. So we did actually follow through. And, okay, so are you okay?
Yes.
All right. Then I put an item down, guests for next meeting, and what I was thinking, and I had actually got in mind Carolyn Bain from the Advisory Committee on Sustainability. I thought she could talk to us about how the compost program is going, the town compost program is going, and we could brainstorm to see whether there are things that we as the Commission could be doing to be supportive of that, or any other projects that they're doing, because we all have different networks, and we can talk about these things. So that was my idea, but I wondered, maybe it's a big distraction to have somebody else appear for our meeting, but I thought that it would help us understand more about what's going on in town, where we can help, how we could join forces to to get better results, basically. So that was an idea I had. And Carolyn Bain's such an easy person to start with, because she is so involved in so many projects.
Yeah, the Nature Center too.
Yes,
right?
yes, she's on the board of the Nature Centre too. And they are actually, in that regard, the Nature Centre is starting an initiative called Do One Thing, and they're going to find somebody in town to say the one thing that they have chosen to do that is a good environmental thing to do, like, because I can't think anything off the top of my head, but I am going to compost all my food scraps from now on, or I'm going to put up a birdhouse or something like that. So the one thing that person does, and if there's somebody who's fairly well known in town, it becomes influential, and people can sort of learn from that. So that's something the Nature Centre is doing. She might want to talk to us about that. But if you all think that's a good idea, I could reach out to her and see if she could join us. If not for January,
I think
maybe
that's a great idea.
February. Yeah, and then we can, I feel that way we'll be a little bit more vested in what's going on in the town.
Connected to.
We're connected,
Yeah.
exactly. Connected and knowledgeable, and we too can think about, broadening our sort of scope of work. And not that I'm not looking for us to necessarily do more physical work, but some of these things don't take a lot of effort, but just having us join could make the initiative more powerful. So, all right, well, I'll talk to her and see how she's fixed them. And then have my blank. Any other business? Anybody have anything they want to talk about? Yes.
So at the, the butterfly garden at the
Yes.
berm, the butterfly bush at the bottom of the hill, and then there's one at the top too. I wanted to prune those,
Mm-hmm.
but now I really can't.
Oh, no, right.
And I, need to get up on a ladder. So, do you think I can ask Wilmer to do it? I don't think it will take more than a half an hour.
Is it okay to do it now, this time of the year?
Yeah, we always, we have one in our yard, and
Okay,
we
you do it
always
this time.
prune it at this time.
Yeah, what about, I'm just wondering, I'm thinking financially, do you think Public Works would be
Oh,
willing to do it? Ask them, and if they don't, then yes, ask them.
Okay.
Yeah.
I mean, would they do a good
I
job?
don't know.
Yeah, I don't know if they,
I'd be concerned to be there supervising, perhaps.
yeah, I don't know
Yes.
if they know exactly how to prune it. I mean, you just cut it down a lot, basically.
I think you can butcher I butcher the one I have.
Yeah,
I
yeah.
take it down to about this high and it
Yeah,
still
yeah.
sprouts.
Yeah, we
Yeah.
take ours down really low too.
Yes,
I can ask them.
yes.
Okay.
Otherwise, it shouldn't take too long, should it? I just
No,
don't want us to run
shouldn't
out of
take
money
long
for
at all.
Yeah, I
It
don't want
shouldn't
us to
take
run
long
out
at
of
all.
money for the hanging baskets.
Yeah.
But I'm sure that's not going to make the difference.
Yeah, okay.
Yeah.
All right,
That's
so I'll
fine. If
ask them.
everybody else is okay with that.
That's a good idea.
Yeah. All right. Well, I'm sorry it's such a short meeting, but I need to go back. Rest up a little bit.
Carrying on awfully well if you don't feel well.
Oh, it's horrible. Well, I actually was going to call you and say, could you run the meeting? And then I
Oh,
thought,
so
oh,
sorry.
don't be so silly. I could manage it. So
Oh.
it's all good. All right. So motion to adjourn. All right, Jackie, seconded Elizabeth. All right. Adjourned at 10:25. Thanks, everyone.
Thank you.
I hope you feel better.
Well,